Hey guys, what's up? This is my first video. Uh, I'll be posting programming tutorials. If I can explain them well, you guys should definitely watch because I'm starting to learn coding and I want to share this experience with the audience that I might build. Of course, double quotations on might, and like I want to take this journey with all of you, and if any of you have any queries of how this program is done, you can drop me down in the comments box and I'll definitely look into it. I'm using Microsoft Visual Studios as my IDE. You can download the community edition. It works perfectly. You just have to go to file, new project, and you just create a Visual C++ or you create a C++ Windows console application, and that's what I've got right here. So today's program is how to check prime numbers. Of course, that's the easiest one, but this is my first video. I have to start with something. So let's give this one a shot. Okay, so I think we have some pointer stuff here. Let me clear this out. Okay, so to start with coding check prime number, you need to figure out the logic first, which is obviously the main part of any code. We start by building the logic. How do we know that the number is prime? See, if we know that the number is prime if it's divisible by 1, the number itself, and some other number, then it's not considered as prime number. Oh, did I just put it wrong way? Sorry. We know that number is prime if it's divisible by itself and only 1. So if the number is getting divided by some other number than itself and 1, it's not prime. It sounds so complicated to explain the logic because once you start coding, it all becomes muscle memory. You just hear the question, the logic kicks in. It's kind of hard to explain the logic to you guys, but let's just code. Let's just for those of you using Turbo C++, there might be few syntax there's might be few syntax differences because Turbo C++ still uses a really old adaptation of C++, while Visual Studios, these things, they keep updating the language. As there's a fun fact right there, the C++, the Turbo C++, that time integer variable had 2 bytes of storage, but after C++ language keeps getting updated, now C++ language integer variable has 4 bytes of storage. So there are a few minor here and there changes. The logic remains the same, syntax changes from here and there. Okay, so this line right here, this might be new to you guys. Even I don't know the correct meaning for this line, but as far as I can recall, using namespace standard is that your IDE creates a sort of a sheet, a sheet of paper, and that STD means you're using the standard sheet. You're not using any other sheet. That's what apparently that means. Okay, see guys, cut me some slack over here. This is my first video. I'll progress over, so I'll be using a function to check prime numbers. It's much easier, but let's code main first. take an integer, okay. I won't be writing the user friendly statements like please enter the number, because in competitive stages that doesn't really matter. Now let's create the function. I'll create the function as bool. You can also create the function as int and return 0 and 1. It's same. It's bool is just seems so fancy. Okay. So this thing will be getting an integer. Now the logic is, as I explained the logic before, if the number is getting divided by number other than 0, number other than 1 and the number itself, it's not a prime number. So we try dividing it by the smallest prime number and we take it as, let's take it as the smallest prime number is 2, because 1 is neither prime nor composite. Now what we're going to do is we create a while loop while this condition is true, and I'll just tell you why this should be, why have I written this. See, the thing I'm doing right now, tapping spaces. Some of you might not know this is called indentation. I read it in some old crappy book. Indentation means code ऐसा हो जो साफ दिखे. Apparently, that's what it means. And yes. Okay, so for those of you who are not familiar with Boolean function, Boolean is a function that only returns answer in zeros and ones. Okay, so return false means it's going to return a 0, return true means it's going to return 1. Now the logic for this function is that the user will input a number. Okay, let's dry run the code. The user will input a number, we'll send the number to the function, we'll take the smallest prime number, because the logic was if the number is getting divided by 1 and number is some other number except for 1 and the number itself. We know that 1 divides any number, so we'll not take the divisor as 1, because if we take it as 1, this condition will always be true. Okay, so that's one flaw in the logic. So that's why some of the people don't get it, why I take it as 2. This is the reason why. So we take it as 2, right? And then what we do is we keep what until this number is smaller than the given number, means we are trying to divide the given number by, starting from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. So if this number, until it's smaller than this, and if mod operator, obviously you guys should know that mod operator gives answer as remainder, means if this number divisor that we are taking 2, if this completely divides, the remainder should be 0, and if that's y equals 0, you should get the answer as false. Now what this means is that the smallest prime number, let's say for example I am taking 24 comes here. Okay, yes, 2 is smaller than 24, and now 24 divided by 2, yes, the remainder is going to be 0. So 24 is not a prime number. Let's say we get 13. So 13 comes here. Yes, 2 is smaller than 13. Now n mod div means 13 mod 2, which we all know is not equals to 0. There is some remainder, it's the remainder is 1. Now so since it's not true, this condition this if condition will not execute, and we'll do the number plus plus. Now this is going to become 3. We'll divide 13 by 3. It's not true again. We'll make it 4, and so on until this number becomes 12. After 12, 13 is equals to 13, so this condition will be false, and we are going to eventually return true. Now just to add some UI to it, user friendliness to it, let's just call the function. You guys should be careful with the function name, because you know, C++ is kind of tricky language. There we go. This should be good. Let's try running the code. Okay, so it's asking for input. Let's try giving the easiest one. There you go, 2 is a prime number. Now let's try 27. There you go, number is not prime. So let's just understand the logic once more. Let me shoot this up to 150. Let's understand the logic once more. Everything starts from main. The function is executed. The function is the latter part of the code. You input a number, okay? The number is sent to this function is prime. Now what happens in this function is the number is repeatedly being divided by a constant that is changing, right? Oh, that sounds like oxymoron. Constant doesn't change, but the number is being divided by a constant basically. So if we take 13 will get divided by 2. This will not be true. We'll jump to this statement. It's same as putting this. Now many people will say, why didn't you not put this? It's same as putting this, right? So it doesn't really matter. So 13, this condition is not true. We'll update 2. The 2 will become 3. We'll again test this condition. Since 3 is also less than 13, it's not true. 4, and eventually it's gonna become 13, and it will not be divisible by any number. Since 13 is a prime number, we'll return true. True means 1. That's why if c equals 1, c equals I could have taken an integer function instead of boolean. That's the same thing. It's just boolean looks fancy since nobody uses it anymore. That's for the video, guys. This is my first video. I know there are some errors. I cannot explain everything properly, but I'll learn over time. Okay, just cut me some slack here, and we'll embark on this journey of code, right? Thank you guys for watching, if anybody is watching.